Welcome everyone to the Rogue Hangout. It's Alesha Drew here, and I'm here today with the Johns today, John, Paul, and John, and we're going to be sharing with you how to generate high-quality targeted leads. So if you're brand new today and you don't even know what an actual lead is, by the end of this Hangout you'll know what a lead is and how to actually have high-quality leads coming into your business, and how you can get started on that today. And if you are a pro at this, you know, you've been around for a while, we're also going to be going through some more advanced strategies that have been working for us from the countless hours of testing and tweaking that we've gone through. So yeah, we're here today to provide as much value as we can, and we hope that you can gain some extra knowledge today and come out the other end and implement this knowledge into your business today. So that being said, you know, if you've got any questions or comments, please leave them below this video and hit that like button there, and we'll get started. And I think I'll throw it across to John Paul to get us going here.
Yeah, you know, when we first got into the business and we first jumped online, you know, we kept hearing from a lot of people out there. Everybody would say, you know, well, exactly what. You need to be generating leads for your business, and you need to have eyeballs on your stuff that you're trying to promote. Whatever it is you're trying to sell, whether you're on Amazon, whether you're on eBay, even something as that, someone has to actually see your stuff that you're actually trying to sell. So, you know, and, you know, the one thing that we learned right off the bat was that nothing happens unless something's sold. So your business, nothing happens. You don't go from here to here unless something sells and there's a transaction. Everything else in between there is sometimes it's a lot of noise that's in there, because some people will think that they're actually marketing out there. So the number one is we just need to identify, well, how do we get more eyeballs onto our product, whatever it is, whatever we're trying to sell or whatever we're trying to accomplish. Now that could be, let's say that you have just a blog post out there and you're not actually even selling anything, you actually just have information but you want to get it out there to more people. Well, you still have to market that in a way. So, you know, even with that, you're going to do certain things like keyword tags. There's meta tags. There's a lot of things that you can do to actually rank higher in the search engines for certain keywords. And that's one way of actually branding it out, putting it out there in a way. Now there's more to it as well, where you can actually send that out there to. There's people that will actually spin articles, things like that. That's just one form of in blogging. Now, as far as in terms of selling a product, now you're going to get into a way that we need to see what happens to make that sale, and it's always easier to start on this side and work your way backwards. So we had to look at a sale and say, okay, well, what happens there? Well, what happens is that, you know, you have to exchange money. Well, how do you exchange the money? Well, that's easy. You have your basics of everything, as far as, you know, your way to take credit cards, all the processing, all that. But before all that, too, you're working it backwards, and you say, okay, well, I have to have people's eyeballs on this. And normally, you have to figure out, well, how many eyeballs does it take to get on till someone buys a product, whatever it is. And eventually, you have to break it down to say, well, a lot of people there, they don't buy the first time. I think it's something like only 2% of people out of 100, like 2% general. Well, so that's 2 people out of 100 will buy anything the first time that they're actually presented with something. So that you see a presentation online and you're like, you know what, that looks like the secret to everything that I need. I love this stuff. Here's, take my money. And there's like 2 people that do that out of 100 generally. And that's kind of industry-wide. It's something that number is not something that we're just pulling from thin air. Granted, it can go up and it can go down in certain niches, things like that. Now, so that means that only 2% do that. Well, what about the other 98% of those people that came in to see your product? Well, normally you need to have a way to follow up with those people to actually see more about your product later on. And I'm pretty sure that if you've been online at all and you haven't been stuck in a cave somewhere in a coma, you have seen this happen in front of you, where it's actually you go to a page and you actually want to know more information about a product. And either A, there will be like an opt-in over on the side about learning more information about it. And that could be considered like a sidebar opt-in widget. That's like some of our terms that we'll use for it. Sometimes you'll have like a clickable image on on Facebook. You could go, you'll be on something on Facebook, and there's an image that you like. You click on it. It could be about a product or a video or anything, and it could take you over to an actual sales page or some type of content to actually pique your interest further. And now some people have what's called a welcome gate, and I don't think Facebook actually allows this anymore. But sometimes you'll go to a site and you'll get in order to see more information, you have to actually enter in your email address before you even see anything at all. And that's kind of a frowned upon practice anymore, because what happens there is you're getting people that just want to see your information, but they may not have any interest in actually buying a product. So what happens is you can get a list of all these people that come in, and they don't know, or well, they're not, they have no interest. Uh-oh. Let's see here. Looks like we lost the video call here.
I think we're back. Are we back? Yes.
Yep, I think so. That was strange.
Yeah, like the screen literally went black. It was crazy.
The Google bot.
Yeah. John Paul, I think you're muted right now.
There, that's better.
Yeah.
All right.
That was a break state moment for everybody.
Yeah. So we'll get back to it here. So there's tons of different ways that initially you can actually have put eyes onto your product. And one of the things that most people want to do is a marketer, a lot of people will tell you that you have to build a list. And yes, that is true. There are different ways of doing without building a list, but I think you're going to be putting a lot more effort into stuff that you're going to miss. You're going to leave a lot on the table, so to speak, because of that first 2% of people are the only two that buy. Well, now you have to find a way to follow up with those people through a series of like an autoresponder series for like an email campaign. And now there's different trains of thought on this and different philosophies towards building a list. And many people say that the money's in the list, and the money's in the list, and the money's in the list. Well, I know that Alesha and myself actually we happen to believe that the money is in the relationship that you have with the people that respond on your list. So it's actually the responsiveness that we are after. Now, because the reason we say that is because you can have a list of 20,000, 30,000 people on an email list. And if you send an email out to them and you totally are not in touch with your marketplace, now whether that could be because of age, gender, just a multitude of different reasons of why people don't jive with you. There could be, probably a million different reasons people could come up with on why they don't just like somebody or anything. And a lot of it is trust and value. They don't trust the value that you're giving to them. Normally, that's something to do with a lot of it. Because at the end of the day, if the value that you have it's going to help build the trust, because they know that what you have to offer is actually going to benefit their life in some way, shape, or form. That's a good thing. Eventually, you're going to start building some responsiveness. You'll find a certain target market that you will actually correlate with, and you'll get responsiveness back from people. Now, most people, since they don't buy that first time, you have to follow up with them, and on average, it takes about 7 touches, and I call them touches because that's 7 interactions or eyeballs on, or people seeing your product, or eyes onto what you have to offer. Just more eyeballs on your stuff, and I call it 7 touches. And on average, it takes about 7 touches before someone actually can either make a decision yes or no. Again, and in sales, in marketing, we'll call that funneling people down through a funnel. We'll have all the leads come in at the top. We'll whittle them down through an autoresponder series with an end goal of either to be yes or no. And that's pretty much what we're after, is the yes or the no. Now, again, this is going to be anybody that's been out there that's been in regular sales, as far as like with retail sales or anything like that. Ultimately, you're after what's called open-ended questions. And it can screw up a lot of people because that are in regular sales at first, because normally we're after these open-ended questions to actually just keep engagement coming in. You know, you're not after that yes or no. Well, it comes a certain point where you actually are after a yes or no later on, and that's something where if you've got years of training in selling, like in retail sales or anything like that, this is where you'll find that one of your biggest challenges is actually being okay with going after that yes or no. And that's okay, because you're going to be spending money on storing leads. You're going to be spending money on advertising to leads as well too, sending emails out. You know, your time's involved. You know, so those are things that it's okay to go after a yes or no answer later on towards the end of your series. Now, I've kind of gotten like the big overall spectrum in all this in one quick shot, you know, and I'm going to pass it back over to either Alesha or John to kind of narrow it back down to actually define kind of exactly what a lead is from the beginning. Because sometimes in business, and when we first start out, there will be a clash, because there is a difference between a prospect and a lead. And I don't know if anybody wanted to kind of talk more about that.
I can do that if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
So let's kind of step back for a second and talk about sales and targeting in general. So I like to have people think about this business just like if you put yourself in the shoes of someone who runs a Home Depot, for example, right? A Home Depot has a target market of people who are doing home improvements, or they're buying appliances or whatever. They're buying garden supplies, but they're primarily for home improvement. Well, a lead is basically someone who comes in the store and is just sort of tire kicking, shopping around, whatever. A prospect is someone who comes in the store and has a genuine interest in buying something. They've identified a need, and so now they're looking for a solution to their need. And so that's the way you have to kind of think about it. And I really encourage everybody to sort of think about their business from that perspective. First of all, you have to define who your target market is. It's absolutely positively critical. I was talking to someone over the weekend who's on our team, and they also happen to be in another MLM opportunity, and their target market tends to be females. Now, you can sit there and say, well, I want to go after all females, but that's not really going to give you very high quality leads. What you need to do is target the specific kind of person who you know is more apt to buy those types of services from you, and then even more so, you want to target people who you can relate to. So if your target market is females, well, you need to narrow that down. What's probably the prime target for females in this specific instance is going to be someone between 30 and 45 years old, right? And then this person needs to target down even further to be able to develop the right kind of relationship with that prospect who is looking for something specific to satisfy a need that they have. So those are the kinds of things that you really need to think about from that perspective. Start from a very high level. Think about what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, what are the needs that you're trying to satisfy in your market, and who are the buyers, who are the people that are looking for those types of solutions. So you kind of need to start from that level, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, seriously, we're in the online marketing business, but if you're even in the offline business, you've got to do the same kinds of things. You've got to think about who your target market is, who are the leads, the potential, the sort of the global potential of people that you're trying to go after. And then you want to develop that list or that group of that universe of people and further cull them down into prospects, people that have true desires, true needs that need to be satisfied with the type of opportunity or the type of product or whatever you're doing from that perspective. So that I think, John Paul, that maybe kind of answers that a little bit.
No, it did. It nailed it right on the head. And what you said too, as far as matching your target market, and identifying who it is that you're trying to sell to. What we kind of did as well was we went back and we looked at why did we buy a product when we made that purchasing decision. What was it about it? Like where we were at, either in our lives, what were we doing, what was going on around it that contributed to us having to go seeking for this product. And what I guess I don't like using the word secret, but it seems like the one thing that we kind of stumbled upon in a way was it's not about marketing to everybody at the beginning. When you start out, sometimes you just want some action, you want some type of traction show. You'll throw ads out there everywhere, and what you get is you get everything coming back in at you, or nothing at all. You get total randomness, and it's really hard to decipher out exactly where you're getting what from and who that person is on the other end of it. In our industry, we've all used the word avatar before. As well, just to identify it. But what we found was that I guess the whole trick or the secret was finding the people that are ready to buy and how to get in front of them right before they're ready to buy, because that's whenever they're already in a decision-making process. They know that they already need something for this need. Now it's just, is what you have to offer going to be perfect for them in their eyes, and are they going to value it enough to say yes and then slide their cart? Or enter their info, whatever it is. And, at the beginning when we're having our leads come in, and that's what we found was that the people that do buy, you're finding them right when they're already ready to make that decision anyway. You're entering the thought that's already going on within their head. And that's really the art form of what you're after continuously. Is what conversation is that person having right now in their head? What is it that they're going through, and what need do they have? Like John said, what need do they have that we need to satisfy? And that's just, and you do the same thing as a buyer every day. It's just putting yourself into the shoes of identifying what it is. You don't really even realize it. Let's say you need to buy a pair of jeans or slacks or anything. You're gonna look around you and go, okay, well, what's around me? Now, there's some people that will be willing to travel an hour and a half towards a different store just to go to like a shopping mall to go buy clothes. But a lot of people now, they're actually heading online. So most people are heading online, whether it's Amazon or Zappos or anywhere else, and they're shopping and they're buying clothes online just for the ease of it, because a lot of times they already know pretty much what they're after in a way. And it's just identifying what it is, what it was that you wanted. Now, granted, there's certain products that are out there. Let's say you want a pair of Levi's. You want the Levi's 505 or you want the 515, whatever it is. As you get older, you find the same pair of clothes that I like the way that fits. It fits me great. I just want that simple, and you'll just order it up. You rip a pair of jeans or something. What do? You'll go online. You'll say, okay, I just need a pair of this in a size 33. In this style. Just I don't care. Just send it. And that's something where someone already knows exactly what they want. And that's great, because what marketers can do is you can just go ahead. Now Google will have clickable. You'll have whoever's paying the most pretty much to get up to the top of some of the advertising ranks for Google AdWords, things like that. And there's a lot of competition up there. Now there's a lot of stuff that I'm not even going to go into as far as like with Google AdWords and stuff and how those ad rankings actually work. That's something for a totally different time. It's actually within some of our trainings and stuff, within some of the actual products that we have, and that's something for a totally different time. But as John said, there's a need that they have that you're trying to satisfy, and it's just identifying what that need is, and that's where you can talk about that in a certain ways. Now, I want to kind of switch over to, targeted leads is actually one of the big things that in finding your target match is is critical to your business. And looking at how you buy things, why you buy things, and actually narrowing down who you are is actually critical to doing this, because, you know, if the person that might find themselves attracted to myself or Alesha, it could be a totally different individual that could find themselves attracted to John. Now, and that's the same thing that's going to happen within a lot of teams, and as if you're in the online marketing world, or you're in direct sales as well, and or you're in you know, any type of like network marketing business, you'll find yourselves within a big group on a big team. And what might work for your sponsor or for your leader as far as who their target market is, yes, you follow them or you join them for a reason. But as you're marketing, if you want to build yourself, it's critical to identify who jives with you, who melds with you, what kind of groups you're in, what kind of groups, you know, what kind of following you can build there. Because it's going to be different than exactly who your sponsorship group what they have. It will be slightly different, and that's the one thing that we kind of went through as well too. We went through that as far as saying, well, who resonates with me and who drives with me. And those personality types are totally different. You know, who actually just likes me is actually different than some of the people that follow Alesha for different reasons. You know, she's got different interests as well. And, you know, a lot of people join people. They don't join the actual company. They're actually joining the person that's in front of them to actually join that company. When you're talking about network marketing, now that's just network marketing. I'm not talking about any other real industries at all, because honestly, you know, people could give two craps less about the company that's on the back end. Later on, that's important. Some people, that's really, really important to them. But a lot of times, it's actually about the person who they think that they're going to interact with the most, and that would be you or us, you know, whoever that is. And that's what we went through. And then I know, Alesha, did you had anything specific that you kind of wanted to browse over, or you know, any talking points that you had that you really wanted to stress on this?
Yeah, I know you guys have gone through some, you know, really great points here. I just want to piggyback on for a little minute. You know, it's a great point with the whole target marketing. You know, because if you're marketing to everybody, you're marketing to nobody, as we've just pointed out. And you know, when you're first getting started online, you know, you're really excited, you're really anxious to get going, and you know, as we mentioned, you'll throw yourself out there, and you'll get leads coming in, and you'll get really excited, and that's great. You know, I want to stress the fact that it's not about the opt-in rate, and for those of you that are brand new, the opt-in rate is how many people have actually subscribed to your email list. They've entered their information, their email address, maybe even their name, or possibly even their phone number as well. It depends what the actual capture page is. That's a topic for another day, capture pages in itself. But there is a piece of information that person will fill in because they're interested, which makes them become an actual lead. And it's great if you get thousands of leads coming in from a campaign that you've done, so you have a really great opt-in rate. That's awesome. But at that point is where the real marketing actually begins. When these people subscribe to your email marketing list, that's when it's crucial for you to follow up with those people via your email autoresponder, sending them emails and building a relationship and building a rapport. As we mentioned, you know, the money isn't in the list, the money is in the value and the relationship that you build with the list. And that's where the real marketing begins. So if you have thousands of people opting into your list, and you know, a few weeks later you haven't made one single sale from those people, you know, then maybe you need to take a look at, there could be a number of factors as to why that's happened. You know, as we mentioned, it takes at least 7 times for somebody usually to buy. They need to be exposed to you at least 7 times. Now, you know, there could be a number of reasons. They may not resonate with you as a person. They may not resonate with your story. You know, they may have looked into the information a little further and it wasn't exactly what they wanted. it may not actually be solving their problem. And that's where you need to look at what we've been talking about here, the target market. It is crucial to get that, because if you're building a list with a target market that doesn't resonate with you, then those people probably aren't going to buy from you. So you really want to make sure that you distinguish who your target market is. And you might need to do a little bit of experimenting to find out what your target market is. And that's great. And often we can do that through telling our story. Now, a lot of people think they don't have a story because it's not dramatic, you know, it's not sad, it's not all crazy. But it doesn't mean that you don't have a story. Everybody has a story. And, you know, I actually struggled with this a little bit when I first got started online. You know, I didn't have one of those, you know, really awful rock bottom stories. So I really kind of had trouble putting it together. And I found that the more I shared my story and I wrote out my story and different pieces of my story, the more, you know, my story came together, and I started to attract people that resonated with my story and my interests and what I've been through in my life. So I want everybody today to really think about their target market and who they want to attract into their business and what your story is and how people can actually relate to that. You know, I think that's one of the first steps. And, you know, we've established what a lead is. It's a person who's interested in what you have to offer, and you can actually solve their problem because they're coming to you because they have a problem. And, you know, I want you to remember that these leads, we call them leads, but they're actually people. You know, people talk about, oh, I have this many leads, I have that many leads. And often at times people forget that these people are human. They're just like you and I. They're actually people. So you want to be sure to treat these people as human beings and give them value within your email marketing. You know, if you're just selling to them all the time, most likely they're just going to think that you're pitching them all the time. You know, you want to give them value. You want to, you know, you want to promote weekly events that these people can come to and gain value on, like what you're watching right now. This is an example of a way that you can get your list to come to something and actually see you live, which is very, very powerful. Video marketing is very, very powerful, especially if somebody's watching you live. They can see you, and they can relate to you, and they can even ask you questions, and at the end of the day, they've learnt something and they can take some value away, and they know they can come back every single week, you know, and get more value and learn more from you. So I think those points are very, very important. And, you know, I just wanted to touch on the fact that, you know, especially when you're first starting out, you know, getting leads to see your product, your information. There's a number of ways to do that we've kind of brushed over a little bit. You know, you can do this through paid marketing or free marketing. Okay, and I want to stress that either way, you're either paying with your time or you're paying with your money. And that's up to you and your situation as to which way you go with it, or you go with both ways. You know, but typically you want to stick to maybe 2 or 3 strategies and you know, really get those down and master those strategies. You know, there was a point where I was, you know, going into, you know, a whole bunch of different strategies at the one time and not mastering any of them. You know, and I realized I had to really hone down on, you know, a couple of strategies and really master those. So, you know, I want you to think about whether you're going to be doing paid advertising or you're going to be doing free advertising. You know, with free advertising, things can take more time to get going. It can take more time for leads to flow into your autoresponder that way. Paid traffic, depending on what it is, you can actually get leads flowing in quite quickly. So it really does depend what you prefer, and often, you know, it's great to have both ways. I mean, we often like to say that, you know, it's to get, you know, between 20 and 30 leads a day is what you're actually typically aiming for to have flowing into your business every day, because it is all about the numbers. You know, the more people you bring in that are attracted to you, you know, through your target market and what you have to offer, the more likely that you will find those few people that actually, you know, want to buy what you have. So, yeah, there were the few things I wanted to touch on, you know, today. and to really get out there. I mean, I guess let's go into maybe a few strategies that us ourselves, you know, over our hours of testing and tweaking that have kind of worked for us. I mean, I know that we've dived into, you know, a few things like solo ads and traffic agencies and Facebook ads as well, which is a really huge topic right now and a great way to really hone down on your target market. So does anyone want to share what's working for them right now?
Sure, I can talk about a couple things. So I'm much more of a paid advertising kind of guy. So you know, I spend less time in social interaction on Facebook and Twitter and those types of things, and I focus mostly on paid advertising. And that's a harder way to go, especially when you're starting out. So I wouldn't recommend that if you're just starting out in this business. I think you're much better off engaging socially directly with people when you're first starting out, because I think you'll have a lot more success. And ultimately, it's really critical for you or anybody on your team to have success early on. So I highly recommend that. But let me just tell you my trials and travails in paid advertising. So when I first got in this business, you know, I got hooked up with a couple of I don't know what you would call it, sort of syndication groups, and you could buy their sort of co-op traffic. And what co-op traffic basically means is that you're throwing in your money with a whole bunch of other people, and the the broker essentially goes out, takes that block of traffic, and then they purchase it from somebody else, and then they send the traffic to your link, and it's basically rotated through, you know, somehow. Well, if you don't know what you're doing there, if you're just counting on what people tell you, I think you're going to lose a lot of money. It's probably the fastest way to lose money, and so I highly recommend that if you're going to go that direction, if you've gotten a hot tip from somebody that somebody has great traffic, don't spend a lot of money on it. Spend a few bucks, you know, probably the minimum amount, or you know, a little above that, just kind of depending on your situation, and test first. This business is all about testing. It is truly all about test, tweak, test again, tweak. There are no perfect answers in this business. You just never know. So you want to test all of your traffic sources specifically. There are a number of different ways to do paid traffic. Again, so you can purchase into a co-op group. You can purchase Facebook PPC, which stands for pay-per-click. There are sources that will charge you on a CPM basis, which stands for cost per thousand. So, for example, I'm testing a source today that is not a traditional source, but it allows me to test ads into very highly targeted markets. So I can select, for example, I can select the gender, I can select age, I can select income, I can select race, I can select where they're located, and not only on a global perspective. So let's say I wanted to advertise solely into Canada, I can do that. But if I want to advertise into a specific city in Canada, I can do that as well. So there are ways that you can advertise into those areas. And for that advertising, I pay for cost per 1,000 views. So rather than pay on a per click basis, you're paying for, let's say in this case, my maximum bid is 80 cents per 1,000. Usually that's going to equate to, it kind of depends on the advertising source, but you can sort of figure that that'll equate to somewhere between 50 cents and $1 per click, approximately. So you want to be able to look for ways that you can test into those kinds of opportunities, because, for example, I've tested myself. I've tested Facebook pay-per-click. but they don't give you as much granularity in selecting your target as I would personally like. So I'm looking for other sources where I can advertise my services. Now, in order to do that, you have to be prepared with what's called banners. So you may have to go to a source like Fiverr or some kind of design source, or perhaps your business opportunity already has banners pre-made. But they're going to want you to have a specific size banner, which basically is the hook or the interest part of your ad, to be able to hook people into your opportunity and get more eyeballs into what you're trying to sell. So, there's multiple things that you have to do in order to be prepared for that. And again, a lot of it comes down to defining what your target is. If you go after this, if you start advertising on a paid basis without understanding specifically who you're trying to go after, it's just you're shooting for the stars, and and that just doesn't work very well. So you want to spend some time, define who that is, and then look for advertising sources that will give you that flexibility. Now, for example, let me just give you a couple of examples. I think everybody's heard of the dating site Match.com, right? So you can actually go to Match.com, look at their homepage, and usually towards the bottom of the page for all of these sites, you can look for a link that says advertise with us or advertisers or something like that. If you click on that link, it's going to give you all of the specifications and the requirements to advertise with them. Well, I know specifically because I looked at it just recently, Match.com can give you a lot of flexibility in being able to advertise, but your minimum amount for spending is $250. So that's just not something I want to spend on a test or trial basis. So instead, I'm looking for a smaller site, a smaller dating site, and everybody's kind of going, well, why dating? Well, because there are a lot of people that go to those sites every single day. So again, when you define who your target customer is, then you can start to say, okay, where do these people hang out? And this is one of those situations where one of my target markets hangs out on these types of websites. And so I want to get potential eyeballs to my site, and then I can go advertise on that site. One of the things I like about the specific site I'm using is that I can actually click, or I can actually define people that have clicked on other ads. So JP talked about a little bit earlier, you want to be looking for people that actually are interested in what you have to offer. And the best way to know that is if people are actually clicking on the offers of other people. So I don't want to select somebody who's never clicked on anything, right? Because chances are they're just not buyers, they're not really engaged. Find sites that will allow you to have that kind of selectivity, so that you can define what that is, and you've got a much better likelihood of finding people that are going to be looking at and potentially buying your offer. So that's just a couple of things that I've done. I've also done a lot of work with solo ad providers. So solo ad providers are people that generally have developed a list of potential buyers, multiple hundreds of thousands of people potentially, that they've identified as people who are clickers, people that are interested in certain offers. And so you can place your advertising dollars with solo ad providers. Then they kind of do everything for you. They'll develop the email to send out, or they'll develop the banner, the solo ad, whatever, wherever they're advertising specifically. So they do that work for you. Essentially, all you're doing is buying the number of clicks to your website. But again, before you get involved in that kind of service, I think you really want to talk to other people in the business who have had more experience and can tell you good people and bad people to work with. One thing I will tell you is this is always the case pretty much in life. You get what you pay for in a lot of cases. So if somebody's out there selling you, 20 cent per click solo ads or something like that, generally speaking, you're going to get those kinds of results, and it's just not going to be very great. So anyway, that's those are a couple of things that I've experienced. But JP, you got some other stuff?
Yeah, and how many times at the beginning of everything that you had going on, how many times did you pretty much actually run ads that just bombed? That's the one thing that we did at the beginning, was we had to become okay with actually running ads that we knew, like, that we were okay with. When we spent money, we had to actually spend money that we knew we were comfortable with losing at the beginning, because we didn't go in there saying, this is a crap dice roll. We're putting everything on the table. Make it or break it. That's it. And that's where, if you're not comfortable with losing a little bit of money at the beginning, if you're doing paid advertising, you should not be doing paid advertising at the beginning, because it will drive you through the wall. Like, you will think that your life is ending if you do that. So if you can't handle that, I don't recommend doing it. I know Alesha really likes to focus on she's actually really good with focusing on some of the paid strategies, I'm sorry, some of the free strategies. She was actually really good with that. She's actually had some of our biggest sales that we've actually had was actually from free strategies, and that's something, we did what you did, John, as well too. We ran into some of the solo ad stuff as well. We've had good results with it, and we've actually had dismal results at the same time. And there's a lot of questions to ask as well when when dealing with solo ads. How was this list obtained? That's one of them. How was the list obtained? Is this a buyer's list as well? If a lot of people will actually not market you towards their buyer's list. And you have to build really good relationships within the industry to actually start marketing to other friends or acquaintances' buyers list. Or if not, you're going to be spending a very significant dollar amount towards marketing to a straight buyers list. Because to us, I know that my buyers list that we have, that's a group of people that we respect as well, because this is something that we didn't really touch base about too, and that's actually permission-based marketing. And you want to make sure that you do have, the people's permission to market to them as well. Now, granted, there's things like the Canned Spam Act, as far as with email marketing. There's actually like FTC-regulated stuff that we have to follow. Now, granted, there's laws and there's rules, okay, and sometimes it just makes me shiver, going, oh, okay, just more stuff that I have to listen to. And as entrepreneurs, we all know that we don't like doing that, but it actually is a good thing for us, because what it means is, let's say that I opt into somebody's email list and it's about a BMW car. Well, if all of a sudden I'm on BMW's email list and they're sending me specific stuff about BMWs, what are the odds of BMW actually sending me something because I didn't buy the BMW? What are the odds of them actually selling my information to somebody else and sending me information about a Ford? It's highly unlikely, because in either way, they'd rather just not have me go to the competition. But if they were to do that as well, do you just that correlation? Do you just see how it's kind of asinine? It's really a bad way of thinking. But marketers do this every single day. People do this every day, and I see it come into my email inbox all the time, and it's something where eventually I just start laughing at it, because it's really going, well, how many times have you got a phone call or something, or you entered any type of drawing or anything, and next thing you know, you're getting emails from like 14 different people. Your information was in one of the biggest ways is like insurance. How many times have you just got a quote for insurance, and 2 days later you're getting your phones blowing up, you're getting emails, you're getting phone calls, you're getting woken up early in the morning because they're on different time zones. I mean, just crazy stuff happens, and you're angry. You're like, I don't even want to deal with this. Well, that's what happens with marketers all the time, is that you'll get on someone's list, and just because someone doesn't buy something from you for that one for that like for the product of what they came into that list for, whether it was a certain web form they filled out, you still want to be honest to that subscriber. If they don't want to buy anything, just either unsubscribe them or delete them out, because what happens is you could turn into one of the black hat marketers. There's black hat, there's white hat, and there's some marketers just kind of float around in the middle, not really know what hat they're wearing. Those guys are like the gray hat people, not gray-haired, gray hat. Those are the marketers that they don't really have a problem with actually saying, okay, well, since they didn't buy this, let's send them like a JV Zoo product about this campaign over here, because I want to make $1 off of it. Well, now what you're doing is, if you're building like into a direct sales or network marketing or anything, you're going to confuse people. Number one, you're going to confuse people about where you're going and what you're about, and stick true to those morals and values that you have as you're marketing. That's something where at least that's important to at least Alesha and I. We went through that, like where we had to go through and because we use, and I'll just kind of explain it a little bit. Since we both use actually the same email marketing, like email autoresponder series, we both use the same actual platform. We have to make sure that within that we have certain campaigns where they're only getting an email from myself, or B, they're getting an email from Alesha, and we can never cross that line, because now what we just did is, if we want to do that, we actually have to send them actually to another permission-based opt-in to actually get permission for them to send information about the other item. And now they're going from one list to another. Now that's a little bit more advanced. That's stuff that is actually within our products as well, but people lose track of that as well, because just remember that you want to stay true to how that person came in to learn information about you. Now I'm getting off on a little bit of a rant here, but that's the one thing that a lot of people, we see it all the time. It drives me up the wall, and like as a consumer, it bugs me. And I know that people out there, you guys have all been through that as well too. You've seen it. That's why you actually have multiple email accounts. Most people do, just for that reason alone. You'll go, oh well, give them the real email account. Just give them the real email address. Like if you're for something serious, you'll be okay. Well, give them the real email. Give them that one. Don't just give them the fake one. And that's pretty much really what I have on that. I mean, we had went through a lot of it too. Like getting back to what John had said, we had made, whether it was paid advertising, I remember spending thousands, spending to the tune of around $3,000. And what we originally thought was that since we weren't tracking a lot of our stuff at the time, we were just relying on other people. Because we didn't have our own tracking in place, we got burned hard at the beginning, because we were relying on information from other people. And I tell you what, that happens to you one time in your career, and you will never do that again. And you find all of a sudden you don't think you're that technically advanced, and your technical abilities aren't that good until you lose that kind of money, and you're like, you know what, I better get some tracking in place, and you learn that stuff real fast. So anybody out there that says that that they're not that technical or anything, or they're not that tech savvy, I said, well, go lose some money, and then you'll see how tech savvy you get real fast. Because we did it, and it's not a fun feeling. But
no, it's not, and that's and it kind of brings up an important point, because I think when you're first starting out in this business, one thing that you definitely want to do is put together sort of your toolkit, if you will. So whatever products you need to have to be successful in your business are the same products that other people need to have to be successful in their business. And so I think it's really important for you guys to have affiliate accounts with all of those product sets. So if you have an autoresponder email system, become an affiliate for that autoresponder. If you need, and you really do need to have tracking tools, become an affiliate for the tracking tool provider. If you need to have graphics displays, become an affiliate for basically every product that you need to have in your business, because other people need to have it in their businesses. And the idea there is that people on your list, they may not buy your specific business opportunity, but chances are they're going to need some of those tools along the way. And so the idea behind building a list is not to just sell them only on your specific business opportunity, but to also sell them on other tools and other capabilities that you have. That's a great way to monetize your list, and so you need to really be thinking about that. Don't be just so solely focused on selling your business opportunity that you miss an opportunity to sell them things that they actually need somewhere else down the line. So.
Yeah, I think you're spot on too with that, John. Now, that kind of ties in a little bit. I don't want people to get confused. That doesn't mean how I was talking earlier about, how people join your list to find information about it, about how you run your business. It depends on how you set up those lists. Now, if you're running one campaign for, let's say, a new product that comes out and it's only for one product, you want to pretty much narrow that one down. But then we have what's called bridge marketing. It's bridging back to the big scope and the big picture of everything else. So it's bridging that gap over and saying, okay, well, as John was saying, you have to build your toolkit for what you need within your business. And we needed, for, like he was saying, autoresponders, whether it's graphics, whether it's whether you use phone follow-up systems, text messaging services, a lot of those are affiliate-based that you can still become an affiliate member of all. And my favorite one, lead capture page systems. Those are another big one. So actually how to build lead capture pages. And those are all tools that you use. So if those are tools that you're using, it would be very beneficial to you and your team and your customers as well to actually allow them the opportunity to actually have those products and services as well, because if not, you're doing them a disservice in a way, because all the stuff, it doesn't really matter how much stuff we know unless we're passing it on to other people, so, and that's the thing as well. That doesn't mean that you're actually cross-promoting or anything like that. It means that you're actually still providing the same context of services within that same list, but you just want to be mindful of it. I'll always have it there of saying, okay, well, if the way that you originally designed one of your campaigns for your email autoresponder, let's say if it was about T-shirts, those people that want to buy the T-shirts for the Living Dead or whatever, or the Walking Dead, they're not going to be. How you're going to bridge that gap over into online marketing and the tools and stuff? That's a total disconnect. So you have to just be mindful of that. Now, granted, you might be able to bridge it over into a different TV spin-off series or something else later on that might happen, but those are just things that, just because you have it, just because you have that data there, doesn't mean that it's yours to abuse. That's kind of like all that I was going after with it. But, don't confuse what John said, though, about having your toolkit and all those things become an affiliate. Just because they didn't want your primary business opportunity, you can still, it's the way in which you go about explaining how you developed your business and the tools that you use. And sometimes that's just all it is. It's just as being open and honest with it and coming forth right out and just doing a blog post about it and bridging over to your blog where you have more information. Or you could send them that way too. You could send them to a blog post or to your blog about one topic, but on the sidebar you've got all these other things there. That could be something as well where you didn't now violate how they came into your list, but that's something where if they still were able to find your information. Those are always very viable ways that marketers do it all the time on how to do that. There's a special triangle. They call it some kind of triangle, the power triangle. They call it some type of triangle on how we bounce it back and forth. I just don't know what the term is.
Well, I call it the magic triangle, but
yeah, that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Alesha.
Yeah, the magic triangle. You're bringing people in onto your list, and then you're creating value that you post on your, you create a video or an article or an audio, whatever it is, and then you post that onto your blog. So, your subscriber is coming in, and then, you're creating the value and you're bringing them to the blog. It kind of goes in like a triangle, shape there. So, and blogging, since we're touching on that is also, that's a great free way to generate leads. Blogging is actually our signature basic product when you get started within our community. And it's pretty exciting, actually. We're having some really new, awesome stuff going on with our blog that's coming up over the next few weeks. We have our event coming up in Orlando on October 23rd, and all of that is going to be released to us, and we're actually going to be a part of the beta testing for the brand new blog that we have coming out. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. And, because we've got some awesome stuff coming up, and our new app as well is also going to be coming up. So, I got excited about that for a minute. I got a little bit off, but it's our signature product, and it's a way that you can, organically, people can organically find you through searches. When you create a blog post, that blog post is out there forever, unless you delete it, of course. But it's going to be out there, and you can be generating leads from that blog post, forever. If it's still up there and you're within that opportunity, and that's free, to do that. It's a great strategy with the blog, and there's plenty of other free strategies. Marketing on Craigslist. It's something that we did that was very big when we first got started a few years ago. Craigslist can be a bit fickle, but it's still around now, and it's working for a lot of people. Video marketing on YouTube, that's free as well. Different strategies on Facebook are free. That's also paid as well, but there's a lot of things on Facebook. I mean, YouTube and Facebook have billions of users every single day. There's a lot of ways that you can actually market through, free strategies that do actually work. And as I mentioned, we have our signature blog as our, basic product within our community. And, today, if you'd like to get started, you can actually test run our system today for $7. It's going to be $7 for 7 days, and you can actually test out our system as an affiliate and get yourself set up with our blogging system, which is going to be a great time to do it as well, because we've got a lot of awesome changes coming up, as I mentioned, in the next few weeks. So it's a great time to get in. And, it's $7. It's like a cheap lunch, and you can go in, test run the system, check it all out, and see what it is we do here. And, all the topics we've spoken about today with solo ads and, different, strategies, our products actually dive into the nuts and bolts of those kind of things. So if you've never heard of solo ads, paid traffic, all of these things we've been talking about today, we go into full detail with all of those things within our products. And that's how we know this information. It cracks me up sometimes. My team members will call me and they'll ask me questions, and they actually have the product that has the answer, but they just haven't gone through it yet. And they ask me how I know the answer, and I'm like, that product that you've got? That's how I learned it. I went through the training. So, when you get on board, make sure you actually go through the training and implement what you're learning. That's how we know the things that we know, because we learn it, and then we test it and tweak it, and we implement these things, and we see what's working. I think that's pretty much where we'll end it today. If anyone's got any final thoughts before we finish up.
No, I agree. I just I want to emphasize that, Alesha, truly, because I think I've done this before. I love this product. I love this product because of what it has internal, and the things that I've been able to learn that I didn't know before, that I thought that I knew. And so, everybody can say, well, this is just a sales pitch. Okay, sure it is. But here's the deal, you guys. There is tons of value in this product, tons of value. And so I encourage you guys to get involved. I think there's a link below. Click the link, get involved, because you're going to be amazed at how much information there is in all of these products and all of these tools. It's simply amazing to me. So anyway.
Yeah.
That's my pitch.
Yeah, the pitch is always free, right? So that's the good part. I agree with everybody as well. The value, that's why we actually joined, was because we were looking for this information. That's the reason why we joined. So as earlier we were talking about our target market, things like that. Well, I was the target market. I was the one that bought. I didn't buy this just because I wanted to turn around and actually make money with it. That was actually a bonus for me because I was searching for about 3 to 4 months before I actually joined anything. I was actually searching for information on how actually to do this. And then when I found the information and I found out that I could actually pass this on to other people, I was like, well, this is a no-brainer for me. This actually became my business later on because I was like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me that I could actually sell the information on how I learned how to do this and I can actually make money doing that? Now, granted, since I just talked about money, you can actually see our live income disclosure at empowernetwork.com/income.php. Go there, check it out. There's actually a link to that below this video, all the way at the bottom of the page as well. There should be all the way at the bottom. There actually is a link as well too, so you can check that out. It's actually updated live, and so that's that. That's one of those legal FTC things that I was talking about earlier. It makes me kind of wiggle a little bit and squirm. That's it. But I came here wanting to learn more information, and this is information that, granted, if I went anywhere else, if I were to actually stop doing what I'm doing right now today, with whether it's with anything else, I know that I could pick up and I could actually market any other product that's out there, whether it's a bicycle, whether it could be a freaking popsicle for that matter. I could actually turn around and actually know how to build a sales funnel around it and actually sell that product effectively. And no one can take that away from me. That's something I get to keep. It doesn't matter. If you were to drop me off with a laptop computer in the middle of just somewhere that has an internet connection, I could find a way to make money now. And that's the one thing that's a skill set now that I have that to me it's going to be worth millions in the term of my career, like the term of my lifetime, for what it's going to be able to do for myself, Alesha, our family. It's something that nobody can take away. For that, I am actually grateful that I found this system. You'll always hear people out there too go, well, this system and this system and this system and this system. You always hear the word system, and eventually you'll hear that word, that this newest system. Well, it's like anything. It works if you use it and if you put the time into it to use it. It works. But if you don't put the time in and you don't actually put to use the things that you buy, it doesn't matter if it's a hammer. If you buy the hammer and you throw it in your drawer, it's never going to drive a nail for you. You have to still swing the hammer. It's the same thing with us as well. So this is not a get rich quick. It's not this is not without putting effort into. And I want people to understand that right off the bat, because you don't want people actually, if you were to actually get into this, look at it this way, you would actually not want anybody else coming to actually do that as well. Buy a product and then do absolutely nothing with it. Hopefully you would actually say, look, put some time into it, go through the trainings, go through everything that's there, because that's how we learned. That's how John learned, that's how Alesha learned. We all started somewhere. And the one tidbit that I'll leave you with as well is, as you get started, the minute that someone asks you something, or the moment that you have something, something more about a topic that somebody else doesn't know, you are now considered the expert in their field. So don't discredit yourself by thinking otherwise, because you actually do have something to provide to your marketplace. You actually do have value, and we got started looking for something, to benefit us and for a skill set that we needed, and we found it. And below this video, there's actually a link as well. Click the link, get started. As Alesha said, it's less than the cost of a cheap lunch. You can try it out for 7 days, for $7. You can't find that anywhere else. So, click on the link below the video, get started for 7 days, or talk to whoever showed you this video as well. If it was John, anybody else, talk to whoever brought you to this video, and actually invite them for more, or ask them, hey, how do I get more information? How do I get started today? But get started, get some action going on, and that's pretty much all I got, guys.
Yeah, awesome stuff. So yeah, everyone, hit the link below. It's a no-brainer. $7 for 7 days. We've got some really exciting times coming up with our brand new blogging system coming out, and a brand new app, and it's a really exciting time to get going within our community. So with that being said, we'll see you all same time, same place next week. We thank you all for taking the time to be with us today, and we hope you've gained a lot of value. And we will see you on the inside when you hit the link below. See you next week.